What if the greatest rivalry in the last year of gaming happened the other way around? What if Epic released Fortnite Battle Royale before PUBG? Would PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds have never made a splash at all? Probably not, but let's talk, shall we? Before we begin, we publish new content all week long, so be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. Okay, let's get this out of the way. The copycat problem. Whether or not you believe that Fortnite copied PUBG's gameplay, or if the Battle Royale genre as we know it was already a thing and neither game should be credited as the first mover, it's not really important for this debate. Basically, if you want to say that Fortnite Battle Royale couldn't exist without PUBG, then yeah, we get that, but for the sake of this argument, let's just forget about it. Pretend for a minute that the games would be created in their current state, but just backwards, with Fortnite Battle Royale arriving first. Just go with it, okay? Well, the way we see it is this. PUBG would still be very popular, but not as popular as it is, and it would have a completely different narrative surrounding it. Not as many people would be playing, but there are certain parts of the whole PUBG narrative or discourse that would be a bit more favorable to them than they are today. Basically, people would just be a little bit nicer about the whole thing. So why would this be? Well, to explain why I think this is so, I want to talk about two games, Path of Exile and Cities Skylines. Now, what the heck do these games have to do with our discussion? Well, both were introduced as more hardcore alternatives to mainstream games. Games that were more complex, less cartoonish, and substantially deeper than the games that occupied their genre. Path of Exile was seen as a better alternative to Diablo 3, as was Torchlight 2, but nobody plays that anymore, so who's laughing now, kid on the forums who told me it was better than Diablo 3? Ha ha ha, get wrecked, idiot! F you! Oh, I'm sorry. Anyway, basically, players who were upset that Diablo 3 was such a major departure from Diablo 2 still advocate for Path of Exile today, saying that it is actually the worthy sequel to Diablo 2. The same thing happened with the latest SimCity game, which was an unmitigated disaster, and Cities Skylines, which immediately swooped in to fill the gaping void SimCity had left in the city manager genre. With this in mind, it's easy to see PUBG being introduced or coming onto the scene in a similar fashion. Imagine it, the Battle Royale genre has just exploded with Fortnite, but people are desperate for a more realistic and mature version. One that does away with the somewhat awkward building mechanic and focuses more on gear, vehicles, positioning, stealth. Can you not see how happy people would be to be given that alternative? Also, we suspect that coming out second would probably make fans more forgiving of the well-documented flaws in PUBG's design and code. Now, in the real world, PUBG came out first, so people are baffled by how fast Fortnite has stolen its lunch, especially given how many copies it sold and the revenue that it brings in. But if it came out second, then it would seem more understandable. They're an indie shop, the game came to early access first, they need time to catch up with a giant like Epic Games. The problems that so many people complain about would be framed as realistic rather than incompetent as they are now. Yes, because as we've alluded to in our other video, link in the description, PUBG's got kind of an image problem. Its inability to maintain its lead over Fortnite, the increased monetization and microtransactions therein, the slow drip of content, the persistent problems with cheaters and the netcode, all of it has hurt the reputation of the game. But if the game were positioned more as the underdog here right from the get-go, all of these shortcomings would probably be less severe in the eyes of the public. Okay, so the reputation might be better, but what about the money? Would they still have sold so many copies? Yeah, this is the thing really. The hard truth is that the game would probably not be as popular either. The fact of the matter is that many people just stick with the first game that they've learned, whether it be Fortnite or PUBG. So if Fortnite got the jump on the whole genre and came out free, chances are that its foothold would be theoretically much stronger when PUBG released, and it would be harder for PUBG to take a bite out of that pie, especially when they're charging for their copies. So in short, PUBG would probably have fewer players, but people would be saying nicer things about it. We think that, hate it or love it, Fortnite would definitely still be where it is though, and might even have more of the market. That is, assuming they didn't steal their idea, because, you know, that's a thing. There is one last thing that I feel needs to be mentioned before we go. There is still huge potential for another Battle Royale game to steal a lot of the thunder from both of these two titles. Imagine a Battle Royale shooter that's tight and polished like Fortnite, but has a mature/realistic style like PUBG. That could cut into both of the current champs. So we end with a question. Out of what's on the horizon, what games do you think stand a chance to to steal the whole thing. Thanks for watching Mojo Plays. Be sure to subscribe and click on the link in the description below to check out our suggestion page and vote on what content you'd like to see us cover next.